to Beyond the Ring, a podcast that covers all things in the stock show industry from the informative to the insane, starring Ryan Rash.
Expecting truth from the media is like expecting love from a prostitute.
And Dale Hummel.
Education is not the learning of facts. Rather, it is training the mind to think.
Now on with the show.
Welcome to Beyond the Ring. This is Dale Hummel with co-star Ryan Rash.
Hello.
Hello, Ryan. It's going to be a good day for current events and a main topic that's maybe been on your list for a year and a half.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed in you. Very.
Why? What now?
First of all, you lied to people.
Oh, my.
You
Go
told
ahead.
people that you went to Belize to find cattle. That is a lie, sir.
I did
all
not.
you did, that is not true. That is not true, sir.
Not finding cattle.
Sir.
There is a difference between going there and being able to use part of that maybe for tax purposes because you're inquiring about maybe a partner that you would have in Belize about cattle rather than looking.
I don't
for
care
cattle.
which way you spin it, Jenzaki, you lied to people. You
I am
misled
not
people,
giving Biden
and
that
you
money.
lied.
I refuse.
On top of that, you did not get eaten by a shark. So I'm very disappointed.
I had a great vacation, by the way.
See, now you'll call it a vacation. Now, after I've called you out.
A working vacation.
Working vacation, my ass.
That's what
I
it's
saw
been
the
from day
pictures.
one.
Uh-huh.
Working
Okay.
vacation.
Yeah. This man is a liar. No one should believe anything that comes out of Dale Hummel's mouth when it regards him going places. Everything else you can believe. But when he goes on a trip, it is a lie.
Okay, I was going to wait for my public service announcement until later, but you brought this up, and I enjoy traveling. I absolutely do, and have not traveled outside of the country since the onset of COVID for obviously various reasons. But going outside of the country, I'm going to bring a little bit of COVID and what we had to do to get in and out of the country, and I'm sure many of our listeners have been out of country and understand it already. But as of right now, to get into Belize, it was simply a vaccination card or proof of a negative test within, I believe, 24 or 48 hours to get into Belize. On the way back, it had to be a negative COVID test within the day prior to coming back into the country, not necessarily 24 hours, but just that day prior. So not real complicated. The problem is, as you know, that we can be show no symptoms, asymptomatic, and still test positive. So when they came the night before we were departing Belize to come back to the U.S., I'm thinking this is going to go really bad if somebody tests positive and we have to stay here for another 5-10 days, whatever that is at this time of year with sales season and other things going on. So that does make you a little bit nervous. And I thought, well, surely in some of these countries, you can maybe bribe your way into a positive test or something. But these girls, nurses that came to give us the test, they were as official as they get. I would not want to be offering them bribe money by any means. Zero.
That's nice.
But it does seem like we can get in and out of the country. My public service announcement, Ryan, this, unfortunately, you will enjoy too much. I did not. Ryan can attest that I don't like spending a lot of money sometimes. It's not a big secret. So when I go outside the country, the first time I ever had a massage outside the country, Ryan, I believe was in Costa Rica on the beach for like $10. Great deal. I thought, well, this is cheap. This is worth trying. You look into getting a massage in the States, it seems very expensive to me. So I got this massage years ago in Costa Rica, and I thought, oh, this is amazing. I should have been doing this a long time ago. And then I've traveled to other countries, and when they were reasonably priced, I would get a massage, particularly when it seems like traveling abroad, the beds we're sleeping on feel more like just a sheet of plywood and a little thin mat. It's brutal for me. I'm very particular about what kind of bed I'm going to sleep on or mattress to use. So by the third or fourth day, I'm getting pretty stiff, and my wife will go along with me, and we'll get a massage. Well, one of the first ones that I received in Thailand, I thought was amazing. So later in that week, we decided, okay, let's go ahead and do this again. And just like normal, they come in and they say, well, in a little bit of broken English, what type of massage do you want? And I don't know Swedish from Ukrainian or whatever you want to call them. I have no idea. I just said, my muscles are pretty sore, whatever you need to do for that. Unknowingly, that is called a deep muscle massage, Ryan. Have you ever experienced something like that?
No, I don't get massages.
Good Lord. Be thankful. This lady in Thailand put her elbow in my back and went down what I'd call my ribeye or loin or whatever with she's probably 80 pounds and she was exerting 500 pounds of pressure somehow. And it was extremely painful. I was done. No more massages. Done. So I held back from that for several years. And in Belize, I thought, well, I'm going to try this again. My back's kind of stiff and I'm going to go ahead and do this. So I have the guy at the condo office say he's going to bring 2 young ladies over that will give a massage at your condo or out on the porch or whatever. And they speak.
Yeah, I bet that was cheap.
It wasn't bad compared to here because I would not spend a lot of money on it. But anyway, so they come over and they speak English very well there. I believe it's actually their first language, so there's no communication barrier. She asked what kind of massage you'd want, and I'm thinking, I'm wise to this, Ryan. I've got this. I said, my muscles are really sore. Let's just go real easy. And somehow she heard the really sore muscle part and ignored the real easy part. Ryan, she put me every injury I've ever had on my body, everything that any sore spot, she was like a magnet. And she put me into the most excruciating pain. And I'm too proud to say, hey, wait a minute, stop. I'm gritting my teeth. I'm holding my breath. I curled my toes up so bad that my feet cramped up. And then when she got down to my feet, she could feel those tight muscles and she just drilled on those. But it was awful. So the moral of the story is, guys, just don't ever get one of those. If they ever ask you about the steep muscle massage, even though that young lady or man may look not very big, they're powerful. Very, very powerful. My wife tells me afterwards, Ryan said, she says, I hope you tipped them really well, that was the best massage I've ever had. And I'm thinking, oh, you've got to be kidding me. It was terrible. Bad experience. Don't do it, Ryan. You've never had one, just avoid it. I'm done with them.
And there you go. I'm sure the listeners
that is my
found
public
that
service
thrilling.
announcement. Yes.
Okay, so...
Had nothing to do with cattle in Belize, by the way.
No, evidently, yeah, again, you lied to people. But anyway, so moving on. So we're going to talk about the Chris Rock, Will Smith thing. And again, I did a poll on my Facebook, and basically everybody thinks this is fake. That it was made up for ratings because, of course, the Academy Awards ratings suck here lately. And I put things on my Facebook, but just because I find reactions that people have interesting. I have not watched the Academy Awards probably at least 10 years. I have not watched any award show whatsoever of all since Trump started running for president, which we know was, 7 years ago now? Because they became extremely, even more politicized then. So yeah, I didn't watch it. Of course, I've watched the little video clips and all this stuff and what the uncensored version and all this other stuff is like. And first thing I want to say is, while I don't think it is probably the coolest thing in the world to make fun of someone who has an illness, and Jada Pinkett Smith suffers from alopecia. Okay, I get that. She's put it out there. I mean, this is kind of like me putting on Facebook that I used a Mini Hereford and a Highlander, okay? I knew that there was going to be some trash talk. When you shave your head like that, and that woman has way enough money to afford multiple wigs and weaves and God knows what all else. So she wants this out there. Comedians have made fun of people. That's how they make their living. And I don't understand Will Smith's reaction, but my whole point of this is, all of this woke culture and groupthink and, nobody do anything that's not politically correct and all this stuff. This man walks up on stage, whether it was fake or not, and slaps another individual and then screams obscenities at him on live TV. And then 30 minutes later, the whole auditorium stands up and applauds for this man. What is wrong with this world?
I don't know. I know none of the backstory, so you've just educated me to a certain degree. All I saw was the clip. I thought, wow, well, that's going to get a lot of attention, and apparently it has. People were talking about how it was fake and so forth. The little bit that I've seen, and again, I have no knowledge of Academy Awards. I know little about Chris Rock or Will Smith.
The other thing is on the backstory that, they are buds, like Jada, Chris, whatever. They're friendly. I don't think they go on vacations together, but, every place that they're always at, they always take a selfie or have a photo or whatever. So this is more than just publicity at things that they're at together. The other thing about it is someone else had already, when she shaved her head and all this other stuff, made a comment that she should be G.I. Jane too, and it was perfectly fine when that person did it. When Chris Rock does it, it's not so funny. So yeah. And then the other thing, if it is fake, I need to know how much money it requires for you to stand there and be bitch slapped on national TV. Like, I want to know what that figure is.
It is not fake. There is no way. I'm not buying into it. Impossible.
I'm just saying.
Obviously, listening to you, you're probably a little more on the side of Chris Rock.
Yeah, Will Smith can't go around like going, oh, love and light, and then he like literally walks up and assaults a man on national TV and then screams, keep my wife's name out of your blanking mouth. Not once, but twice.
Yeah, I can see that not flying with a lot of the population.
No, screw him. No. And then he, And I've never been a Will Smith fan anyway. I mean, I think he's a very good actor, don't get me wrong, but like, I've always thought all his bullshit that he puts out there is just that bullshit. And whether this was fake or not, if it's fake, he agreed to do it. If it was how he naturally acted, just proves me right. All his love, light, and peace, and harmony, and whatever, it's all bullshit.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
No, I'm with you. Speaking of bullshit, I have a bullshit situation I want to bring up.
Oh God.
I'm done with the LBGQXYZ. I don't know what the letters are. Bullshit from Disney.
Oh.
Disney has pushed my button.
I don't even know about
I
this.
will tell you.
Please.
I saw a little news clip about this, that Disney is they are no longer addressing people as ladies and gentlemen or boys and girls.
Oh God.
I am out. I'm confused. I don't get it.
So what are they going to just say? Hey, y'all?
I don't know. What are they going to say?
Oh my God.
I have no idea.
So stupid.
From a business perspective, am I wrong, Ryan, that more people would be confused? I don't know if I'm going to call myself offended.
This is just dumb.
Yeah.
It's just
how is that going to gain them business by doing that? I assume they're doing things off a business model.
It's not. It's not. And
I'm
telling you, I travel all over and I still call. Now, I'm going to be honest. There are times that I'm not sure, and so I don't say anything. But if I know someone is a woman or I know someone is a man, then I say yes, sir, no, ma'am, whatever, all that other stuff. And so, yeah. Now, if I'm unsure, and there have been more times lately that I am unsure, then I just say hi. But it's not.
I love it.
It's not because I care if they're offended. I just don't want to, if that's a girl, I don't want to say, how are you, sir? And I don't want to intentionally offend somebody. So I just say hi. But that's just dumb. It's so dumb. And I'm going to be real honest with you. I am the worst gay person in the world, and that's fine. And whatever, we all know this. But I don't know many gay people. The segment of that population that really doesn't want to be addressed as boy, girl, whatever they are, is very small. Very small. I'm just saying, because
that is the exact point that I'm glad you bring that up, because I think we're looking at less than 1% of the population at the very most that is going to be offended by somebody saying ladies and gentlemen or boys and girls. I think less than that. 0.1 of 1%. I don't know what it is, but it's almost nothing.
That whole thing is dumb. And again, all right, let's use Caitlyn Jenner for instance. She transitioned from being a man to a woman. You don't think she wants to be called a lady? You're wrong. I guarantee you she does. She went through a whole lot of shit to be called that.
No, I am with you. And she would not be offended by calling her a lady.
Exactly. Correct? So, I don't understand, because I'm telling you, I'm not speaking up or out for, gay, lesbian, bi, transgender, queer community. But I'm telling you, I'm around these people most than anybody that listens to this podcast. And there are very few people that I run into that are offended by being called a boy or a girl. I mean, I've seen very few times about, don't label me as a gender. It just doesn't happen often. I'm just saying. This is dumb.
No, I appreciate your clarification on that. And that solidifies just this crap that Disney's absolute crap. I've never been a fan of Disney from a going to the theme park and standing in lines all day, but this takes it to another level.
I'm gonna
for me.
tell you,
they continue.
We don't agree on much, but I'm with you on this because let me tell you, I went to Disney World and Disneyland as a child, thought it was both a bunch of bullshit, and I will stand by this. And all you Disney fanatics, send me hate mail. I don't care. It is no longer a magical kingdom after puberty. That's all there is to it.
I love it. Should we move on to your president and his gaffes actually affecting world order?
Oh, God. I have literally stayed away from the TV on purpose. But
I have to bring this up. You had to have seen it.
No, I don't think
when Peter Doocy so calmly brings up the three statements that Biden made that are just insane.
No, I have not seen it. I'm telling you, I have not watched TV. I have not.
So for some reason, Biden called on him. I think he must have to every once in a while. So Peter Doocy, one of the Fox News White House representatives, and I think he's great. He's as good as there is at this. Biden has been on in Poland and making some statements, and sometimes he doesn't have his note card in front of him, or he gets off script, or Oz isn't pulling his button or in his ear at that moment. So he calmly gets up there and explains. He points out to Biden. He says, "Well, Mr. President, you explained to our troops while you're in Poland that what they will see when they enter Ukraine," insinuating that our troops are going into Ukraine. And Ryan, as you know, this is a complete contradiction of anything we've ever said. We're not going to fight the Russians. We're not going to. That would be World War III. I mean, he's came out. Circle Backs came out. Everybody has, and he's standing there for 2 hours. He's with these troops under the pretense telling them about what they're going to see when they get to Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea where it came from. It's crazy. The next one is he brings up and he said that if Russia, Mr. Biden, you gave a response that if Russia were to use biological or chemical weapons, we would respond and NATO would respond in kind. Take it for whatever you want. I assume respond in a similar manner. He tried to justify what he said. He couldn't. He basically comes out and said he didn't make either of those two statements is how his defense was. And it's clear, you've got it right there on tape that he did. And the next one would be, he talked about taking Putin out of power. He should be taken out of power. And I'm with that. I mean, I'm there. But apparently the playbook from the White House and administration is we do not say that. We do not say we're going to take another leader out of power in their country. And he had to go in and try to back all that up. And it was a complete walk back nightmare for the administration afterwards. But these gaffes that he makes that we used to just make fun of, they're becoming very serious, and they're putting our country in a very, very bad position. And that is a problem. I noticed, and Peter Doocy didn't bring this up. What about when Biden comes out and he continuously now says sanctions were not meant to deter? They're never a deterrent, this or that.
That's all
you have
they
said.
said.
Blinken, the Secretary of Defense, all of them coming out and saying we're using sanctions as a deterrent. His mind is gone, Ryan. Gone. Did you hear my buddy, Jesse Waters? He's talking about Oz.
Oh, he believes there's Oz too?
He's talking about let's pull the curtain back. Let's see who Oz is. We need to know.
Oh, good.
He must have listened, huh?
Evidently.
I was impressed. He put it in there and he did very well with it, by the way. So I don't know. That's my Biden rant, and I'm going to leave it alone there. But things are not good. And in terms of what's going on in Ukraine, they're obviously holding on, and they're very strong, brave people. All of those things. But that country's literally, there's cities that are pretty much leveled to the ground. So they may keep their country, but Ryan, I don't know what's going to be left.
So, what I mean, I have not watched TV. I have not watched TV. Like, I'm not purposely. It's just been really, really busy this past week, and so, like, I don't even. I saw that Russia's withdrawing now.
They're saying they're pulling troops off the capital. Our satellites do not indicate that very much movement is taking place. The suspicion is that they're redeploying to the eastern side of Ukraine, where they've had a lot more success, and are going to hold what they've got and try to work from there rather than maybe take over the entire country at one time, because this apparently is not going as planned. So I really doubt that they're necessarily retreating, but redeploying and maybe making adjustments. But I don't see them leaving the country by any means. They're going to take at minimum a portion of that country, and Putin's seems to be a person that does not want to be proven wrong, and I can't see him giving up on this mission. I don't think so.
I will try to be more informed and involved next week. It's just been a little busy, but
Beetlejuice, your favorite, she has 71 officers on detail to protect her and her house while she continues to defund the police in Chicago for everybody else.
oh,
Isn't she just the greatest?
when does she come up for re-election?
I
Surely to
don't
God y'all
know.
won't elect her again.
Doesn't it seem like she's been there for a very long time?
Oh my God. I don't even. How long do you get elected the mayor of Chicago?
I don't know. I assume 4 years. I have no idea. That's showing my ignorance, but I do not know. Period.
The only thing that I wanted to bring up in current events besides Chris Rock and Will Smith was that, I mean, I don't know, but right now, Manchin and Susan Collins have both said that they're going to support Biden's nominee for the Supreme Court. This is the one point that I want to bring up. Okay? I haven't studied this woman like the previous ones because she's Biden's and whatever, and I didn't watch the hearings and all this other stuff, but from what I understand is they asked her to define what a woman was and she can't, which is fine. Like, whatever. My point on this is if she cannot define what a woman is, why was it so important to Biden to nominate an African-American woman for the Supreme Court?
Very valid point.
I need to understand.
I don't, and I have not followed it very closely. I did get a little news report that popped in our phone as we started recording this morning, and it was that there was one Republican going to vote to
Susan
confirm.
Collins.
Yeah, so that was the one you're referring to there, and
But I think it's 3/4 that
I don't know.
I think
No,
it's three.
I-
is it half?
I think it's half the way they're talking
Oh.
about it. That's why they made it a big deal about what way Manchin. If it wasn't half, they wouldn't be worried about.
Oh no, it's 3/4 to impeach, half to. Yeah, you're right.
So I think she's going to get confirmed. I assume the Republicans are not going to confirm her, not because she's necessarily an unethical person or anything like that, just her extreme views.
Well, Mitchie came out and said no, he's not going there. He's not voting for him.
No, and I would prefer not to see her on the Supreme Court, but
Especially since they're trying to get Clarence Thomas impeached.
Yes.
Which is great. Yeah. For something his wife did. But yeah.
I do not see any manner of stopping her from being confirmed. Do you?
No, I mean, if it's 50 and Manchin and Susan Collins have already, then like, yes, it's done. It's over.
Yeah, I am with you there. I'm believe, and I do not want her on there, but I don't think there's anything we can do about that. Are you good with current events?
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, I want to bring up our sponsors, Pope Joy Livestock and Boxel Manufacturing. Pope Joy Livestock is actually heading to the East Coast next week, followed by a trip to the West Coast and back. So if you've purchased anything online recently and on the East or West Coast or anywhere in between, he's certainly available to haul those animals. And again, I can vouch that he does a very professional job. Clients that I have been extremely, extremely happy. There are plenty of others out there that do a nice job as well. But I do want to thank Pope Joy Livestock for sponsoring this episode, and it is appreciated. Mr. Boxel appears to be out of Facebook jail, going strong on entertaining the stock show community and developing products for the stock show world. Thank you, Boxel Manufacturing. Thank you, Mr. Boxel. Ryan, do you have a top 10 for us today?
Well, yeah, but first I want to highlight one of our BTRJLA sponsors, and it is McGrew Equipment. They're our national hog sponsor. It is one of the largest used farm and industrial equipment dealers in the Northeast. They're located in Seven Valleys, Pennsylvania. They have weekly hybrid auctions to allow for both in-person and virtual bidding. As a full-service auction company, they offer virtual sales, off-site sales, complete liquidations, inventory reductions, and estate sales. So, by all means, support our sponsors and support McGrew Equipment. So, you asked about a top 10, and I think that we've done all the national top 10s by now, but earlier this week, I put up a graphic. You were probably still partying in Belize with some shark, but anyway, I put up a graphic of what the regional banners are going to look like for 2022. I think they're fabulous because they don't look like any other banner that I've ever seen. So anyway, I like them a lot. I hope y'all like them. And those have already been ordered and they're in the process of being made. I am just crazy OCD about getting these things ordered and in because of supply chain issues and God knows what all else. And we're looking into options of whether we have an in-person banquet or we don't have one or we mail them all out, all that. But whatever the case is, I want all the stuff here and ready to go when it's time to give these awards out. So I thought, since we put those regional banners up, which I'm sure Dell hated them because they're
No, I actually saw those, and I think they're very unique. I'm in. I like them.
oh my, it's amazing.
Yes.
But anyway, I thought we would highlight like a top 10 intermediate cattle deal, like doing age divisions. But so the top 10 in the national intermediate cattle thing right now, first place is Grace Grosetta from Cottonwood, Arizona. And again, Grace, if I mispronounced your last name, I'm very sorry. Second is Tyler Lindsay of Laurel, Mississippi. Third is Chloe Dugan. Fourth is Carly Kinsey. Fifth is Adeline Hamilton. Sixth is Sarah Danley. Seventh is Phelan Rabb. Eighth is Jaden Herzog. Ninth is Cole Van Meter. 10th is Jack Winter. So that is the top 10 in the intermediate cattle standings right now.
Congratulations. That is great. And Ryan, I believe, and you'd sent me a text when I was out of country about we do have a couple regions that we still need some regional sponsors for.
Oh, we got lots.
So we're gonna have to work on that a little bit. It would be absolutely amazing if we get every single award out there and sponsored that we originally came up with. And I know when you put that together, I said, Ryan, we're looking at hundreds of awards and
thousands,
a lot of sponsors. And I didn't even think it was possible. We were going to be happy if we get some of the states done and some of the regions and some of the national. But what's unique is it's really close to getting everything sponsored, but we need just a little bit more help.
My deal is that there's going to be a regional awards program for every region regardless. But it's based on the numbers of members in that region. Right now, Region 3, 4, and Region 3, 5, and 6, they have a full-scale awards program regardless of their member numbers because all those species have been sponsored. And if we could get Region 1 to do that, and we do have one species sponsor in Region 2 and Region 4, if we could get Region 2 and Region 4 to finish up, then there would be a full-scale awards program for every member in the organization, regardless of region or species. So again, if you're interested in sponsoring a species within a region, 1, 2, and 4 are still available in some capacity. Region 1, everything's available. And so Facebook message me, call me, whatever. Or if you know of somebody that you think might be interested, please let us know.
Excellent. Ryan, do you have a friend with you this morning?
I do. My parents are in the wine country. And they left their dog here.
You're the most excited, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I don't have
You'd
dogs.
You'd be nice to that dog.
I don't have pets for a reason, and I don't know what this thing's going to do when I leave here later this afternoon. I've told them that I'm leaving, and I won't be back till Sunday. So I don't know who's going to feed it or who's going to water it. I'm assuming that they're going to make plans for it. But yes, that whining you just heard, that's their dog.
I have some very large dogs outside that are our protection dogs. They tend to bark almost nonstop. So I think it's good to keep the coyotes away. But yeah, I get it. I get it completely.
Yeah.
As we move into the main topic, as I may have stated earlier, this has been on the list for a very long time. And I so graciously explained to Ryan this morning, well, let's just do this one. Is that how it came about?
Oh my God, I'm going to die. Yeah.
I think it's a good topic. Transitioning from the show ring to the sidelines. This is something that's real, Ryan. I'm with you. The deeper I think into it, this is something that people deal with all the time. And there's a lot of different ways that people handle it.
I had this on here for a while because I just think it is something that nobody talks about. And regardless of whether you stop showing at 18 or 21, the large majority of the kids still want to find a way to be involved in some fashion or form. And that's why I thought this would be a good topic to bring out ways to stay involved in this industry and be productive and help others, even though you can't physically be in the ring anymore because you aged out.
No, and I think not only not only is it a transition, and I was going to take it even further than you did for that individual that ages out their senior year or at 21 in some of the national shows or whatever it may be, but I think it's a transition for their parents as well.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. It's
The whole family. I mean, we're used to participating. This has been such a large part of the life and lifestyle for so long, and then all of a sudden it's done.
No, I agree completely. And so I guess the first thing on this that I think is probably the biggest or the most difficult, or it was for me, is if you have younger siblings that are still showing, and so now you're not showing against them, you're part of the support group and you're standing there on the thing. And I know people don't believe this. There is a difference when you have your own animal, because you may watch your siblings show and you're like, well, they're screwing that up, but I'll when I go in there, it'll be fine. When you no longer have that chance to go in there, it is a completely different feeling, and you are helpless and have no control, and it is a problem. Or it was for me, at least. I'm just gonna be real honest. And so, I think that part is real hard when you realize they're out there and there's nothing that you can do. And I mean, you can try to coach or whatever, but a lot of times it's them, and you no longer have any control over the outcome of this event anymore, personally, once it gets in the ring.
Yeah, once that exhibitor steps in the ring.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing, or it was extremely hard for me. I'm not gonna lie, still is.
Ryan,
to this
it's
day.
hard. It's hard for you to sit and watch a show when you don't have anybody you're connected to even showing.
I know, and it is very, very difficult for me to do this today or whenever. It's not good for me, but I still do it. But anyway, yeah. So
Well, I think many people that I work with, Ryan, in selling goats and in placing goats into work, I guess I should say, working with those families. A lot of times there's somebody, and oftentimes it's somebody that's recently aged out. And many of these people are exactly what we're talking about. They've just finished up. They have a wealth of experience, a wealth of knowledge, and they love the industry and they want to stay involved with it. So they begin helping other families, as you talked about. And not only is it a positive for those other families to have this wealth of experience and this young man or young lady that comes in and helps out, but they enjoy it. It's a win-win situation on every side, and I think it's extremely healthy for the industry.
that was one of the things, like, I was going to bring up. If you don't have younger siblings and you want to stay involved, then there's lots of ways to do it. And I think one of those is to kind of like find a family that you hauled with or you like or whatever, and say, hey, if y'all need some help in whatever capacity, whether it's showmanship or barn help or hauling on the weekends, just put it out there and say, I still want to be involved. I still want to help. And we've always got along, etc. If I can help you, you just let me know. And so, yeah, that's always a viable option.
And I can even take it a step further that some of the most success that I find with families out there are those families that have either sought out these people that have recently finished and were really good at it, or approached them, and however that connection was made. But I tell you what, it's a huge advantage, because those young people, and even some of them continue it well later into their life, those people have so much experience and were so passionate about it. They're giving you all of that knowledge and all of that experience and working with you hands on. I think when people ask us, Ryan, a lot of times in question and answer, that, hey, we've shown at our county fair, we want to progress on to the next level. If you can find one of these people, I don't know if there's a better way.
No, I completely concur with that. And so, and like, I think this is always interesting for me because, like, I think the majority of kids normally stop at 18. I mean, there are a few that continue, because there are shows, whether they're breeding or market or whatever, that you can go pretty much till you're 21 if you want to. But I think the large majority stop when they're 18. I know there are exceptions. If you have a herd or you have siblings that are still showing, then yeah, you probably continue on. But there's still, when you go off to college, and the majority of livestock show exhibitors do, that is a transition in so many ways. But even if you still show, it's different. And so I know people all the time, especially here in Texas, because we don't have options after you graduate high school, other than, national shows. But like at our state fair, any major shows, you're done. And so they say, what do I do? How do I stay involved? How do I do this? And so I think that one of the logical things is that you go to college and you find clubs or activities that are still involved there. Like one of the natural things is join a judging team, whether it's livestock judging or wool judging or meat judging or evaluation deal.
That evaluation deal.
I can't think of the damn name of it right now.
That's where they actually look at an animal live and try to predict what their carcass is going to be. Live animal eval.
Yeah, whatever. That thing. Yeah, I didn't do that. I didn't
Yeah,
like
no,
it.
and
So.
you're not a fan of trying to figure out what that carcass is going to be.
No, I wasn't going to stand in the cold either. So just saying. Look,
They need to look good, though, don't they?
I'm going to be real honest. I was not probably the reason A&M doesn't like me so much is because I didn't do wool, I didn't do meats, I didn't do whatever the hell you call it. I just did what I knew I was going to be good at, okay? And that's it. I was like, I'm not participating. Wool smells, you have to be in a cooler, it's cold. Yeah, the rest of it was not for me.
In theory, it makes you a more well-rounded livestock evaluator, right?
I'm very well-rounded. I'm good. Trust me.
Oh, my.
But
I get it.
That is one way to stay involved. The other thing, there's almost every college has a group or a club that stays involved, and maybe they have a show or put on a show. You can go that way. But I think one of the things that people overlook when they get to college is almost every state fair, every national show, all breed organizations, etc. They all have internship programs. And that is another way. And I don't know if everybody realizes this, but they do. They have internship programs. And I'm telling you, those people get great people, but I don't think that is utilized enough. Not everybody applies, all this other stuff. Look into those, whether it's, at your state fair or at a major show or if breed organization, etc. Look into those internships. That is a very, very cool deal. You will make contacts that will help you forever. And it's something that I think is underutilized, and more people should look into that.
No, I applaud that, Ryan. And at the national shows, I didn't realize, I guess, that there were as many internships, and maybe not every national show, but I believe it was Arizona National this year that, there is a slew of interns. I worked with one of them to set up classes for the judging contest. And I can tell you that when those kids are coming right out of that long show career, and they can come in and intern at a show, and they're coming out of the trenches and understand it and know it, they not only get a lot of experience, but those shows benefit from it a great deal. So I applaud the shows that are offering a bunch of internships. I encourage those students out there to go and take part in them. I cannot push that hard enough.
That is another way to stay involved and stay active in the deal. I'm going to put another one out there. Again, this is for the college kids if you can't find a family that you want to haul with, help, etc., especially because most of those people you know really well are probably going to be around where you lived, your hometown. If there's not one of those people that's close by where you decide to go to college, there's probably somebody close enough, whether it's a breeder or a broker or whatever, that might need barn help or might need help when they go to shows. Look into that. I know lots of people that use this as an option, and it works out well for them. And sometimes it gives college kids more disposable income, etc. And so look for those opportunities. And you may not find one because depending on where you go to college and your school schedule and all this other stuff. But if that is something that you're open to, look for those opportunities as well.
No, and I think there's so many families out there. If there's one thing that's void in our industry, and there's a lot of education that goes on, but there's never enough. There's always new families coming in, families that want to advance from the county show up to the state or national shows. It seems like nonstop, and maybe I'm skewed on seeing this, but there's a constant need to educate and people that want help. So they're out there. Just make yourself available, and I think you're going to find some of those things. I really, really do. It's good. And Ryan, it's interesting, and we've talked about the differences between Texas or the South and the North, or from state to state. And here in Illinois, we continue to show that they just changed the rules a couple of years ago that they can show at state fair through age 21. And some of the northern shows, it's definitely stronger in Texas. Your senior year, it's your big year, it's your huge finale, all those things where
Never
outside.
works out.
Yeah, and outside of there, it's a little blurred because, yeah, it's your senior year and you may not be able to show at some shows, but for the most part in Illinois, it's 18 or 21 and more times than not 21 at some of those national shows. So it's a little bit of a blurry time frame when that's going to come to an end,
Yeah.
where it appears to be much more defined in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
This is your senior year. And then some of those will go on later and still show at some of the national shows, but in their mind, that senior year is their last year.
Yeah, and this is off topic, but like, to my Texas people, everybody thinks that we'll wait for our senior year. Senior year's gonna be. I'm just telling you, like, majority of the time, senior years are not a Cinderella story. There are few exceptions. I know that. I've seen them, etc. Don't get the mindset that, we'll put off trying for the biggest goal our senior year. Don't do that. Bad idea. That's off topic, but I just...
Some of them are not able to do it before then or choose not to for economic reasons and the costs that they're going to put into it and saving up for it. But I think the point that Ryan's making there is, statistically, the odds of you achieving what that senior year goal is, wow, to try to do it in just 1 year, it's challenging. How's that, Ryan?
Yes.
You could try as hard as you're going to try your senior year for multiple years, and guess what?
Still might not happen.
Still very, very challenging.
Then another thing and Dale alluded to it earlier, but I think this is for kids as well. But talking about the parents that maybe their last one's done, whatever age it is, 18, 21, what do they do? Well, I think whether you're a kid or whether you're a parent, I can promise you this much. There is a show, or whether it's at the county fair level, jackpot level, whatever, that needs volunteer help. And I think this is a whole different podcast, so I don't want to go into it a lot. Volunteerism, I've had this one on the list for a long time too. Dale just doesn't realize it. But anyway, there are ways.
I saw that somewhere.
Yeah. There are ways to stay involved, and I guarantee you that very, very few times is the show going to say, no, we don't need volunteer help. So that's another option out there for you. For parents, same way as kids, you've got a world of knowledge. Find a family, help them, mentor them, say, hey, you got young kids, maybe they just new at this, etc. Find a family that you want to help if you still want to stay involved. I know a lot of parents that are like, I am done for a little bit. I'm tired. I need a break, etc. And I get that as well. But
and some of them will tell you very, very plainly that it feels like they have a second job in terms of their income when they're no longer spending money on show stock and the expenses of going to shows.
I understand if you need a break or you're just that chapter is closed. But for those of you that do still want to stay involved, I think volunteering is another way to do that quite effectively.
I'm going to go speak on just my personal experience when I transitioned from showing in my show career. Very, very different than Ryan's. My high school background and showing was minimal. County fair, jackpot show, state fair, and that was pretty much the extent of it. I would work for families that would go to national shows and help fit cattle and things like that. But I had much more of my time on the livestock judging side from a pretty early age, and that's kind of where my focus fell. But I still had that desire to be in the show ring, and I went from showing to helping my nephews out in their projects. And once they aged out, I went on to, just like we talked about here, helping some other families, not because I had to or it was an extra source of income or anything like that. It's just something I wanted to do. And I put some thought into another one of our guests that we've had on here, Mr. Fugate. He has probably traveled, he and his wife, Julie, and his daughter, Maddie, to as many of the regional and national NSR shows in the country and jackpot shows. I don't know a family that's probably shown it anymore. There are some families that they travel with that hit just as hard, but they have gone to so many, and that was such a huge portion of their life. And then all of a sudden they're done. And I was genuinely concerned about our friend, Mr. Fugate. And He seemed to seems to be transitioning fairly well from that, but still has that desire to be involved at some level. And it's interesting how that can consume and be so much of our life and such a big part of our life that it's a reality when it comes to an end that some people don't want to be done. We want to do what we can, and there's a lot of ways to go out there and help others.
On this topic, I think that the one thing is that I know that the majority of people want to still stay involved, and that's why I thought it was something that needs to be brought up. And I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I didn't get into it to the depth that I wanted to. But like, it is whether you are helping a family or you start brokering or selling them or you're a volunteer at a show or whatever it is, the whole mindset changes, and you've got to understand that. And it's a work in progress for some of us still, including myself. But I think the things that you need to focus on and remember is I try still to this day to put myself in, whether it's an exhibitor I'm helping or whatever, put myself in that person's shoes or that family's shoes and say, you know what? If I was this kid or I was this family and someone that, whether I had asked for their help or brought them in, etc., said this or did this or acted this way, how would I feel? And when you think about it that way, I think that's when you realize that there are certain things that, even though it may be valid, it may be warranted, all this stuff, because probably need to not say some things that we feel in the heat of the moment. And I'm guilty of it. I've been guilty of it. I understand, because again, it is no longer your project. And even if it's your sibling, it's still their project. And it's much easier when you're a family member to probably get heated and get emotional when things don't go exactly the way they're supposed to. But still, realize your time in that arena is over, and this is somebody else's moment, somebody else's time to shine. And we all know that every show doesn't work out the way we want to, but I just think that we need to try to remember, no matter what role we're playing in the thing, just before, when things don't go well, or even when they do go well. I've seen this too, when something great happens and all this other stuff, and everybody's excited, but maybe one person is kind of hogging the spotlight and it's not that kid. Just try to put yourself in that family or that kid's shoes and remember that while you helped or you were definitely someone that made this goal happen, or remember it's still that kid's project, it's that family. Or when it doesn't go right, just remember before, and we all get heated and emotional, before you say something that you're truly going to regret, be like, maybe I should go outside and cool off and then come back and talk about how this could be different next time.
I like that. Absolutely.
And I'm telling you, it's still hard, just in case you're worried. I
would say that you're transitioning from showing into not was probably as challenging as anybody's out there.
Oof. You have no idea.
Still, we don't want to, we never ask a lady her age, but
yeah,
it was quite a few years ago that you stopped showing, right?
Yeah, shut up, Del. Anyway, next.
Okay. We won't put a number on that. The point is, it still tightens your chest a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that brings up a real good point. Like, if it doesn't cause you to have emotions, whether they're joy or anger or disappointment, or test your chest tightening up when that animal and that kid's in the ring, then maybe you're ready to move on to something different. I still feel all of those till to this day. So I know that my passion is still in this. And so, yeah, I'm not ready to leave. But I think that's something that's valid.
Admirable, Ryan, that fact that you feel that way. And I'm going to share an example, and it's hard for me. And you've been with me at some of the shows and understand that either myself or our manager or my wife or our herdsman Tristan, we try to get one of our team members, if not a couple of our team members, to all the Texas majors, OIE, many of the state fairs, and sometimes even some jackpots or county level shows, depending on the family's goals. We obviously can't go to every show that every goat that we sell is going to, but we try to get to as many as we can, and we try to get to their farms, all those things.
I think Craig should get like one of those travel trailer things and just stay on the road. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
but we really need him here.
You
the
have
point-
Tristan. It's fine.
Yes, we do. We're progressing there.
I
Everything's
love you,
going-
Craig. Just joking. But next.
When I have a family that I've got to know well, or Craig or any of us have got to know well, and we've worked with either at their place or in contact on a regular basis, and we're at the show helping them, when that child goes into the ring, a lot of parents out there know that feeling. When your child enters the ring, it takes time off your life because you want everything to go well. You feel the stress, you feel the emotion. And my problem is, just like when my children go in, and even maybe more so, when it's a family we've been working with, I feel that same kind of anxiety or stress or whatever you want to call it. Maybe other people don't have this at all, but I have a lot of emotion tied to each one of those kids when they go in the ring, and it's honestly physically and mentally hard on me.
It definitely is. There's no doubt.
I need
about
to take a deep breath, and you need to take a deeper one, and we just need to chill a little bit.
Look, I'm very well aware of my faults, and this would be trying for me. And so, again, I just think that this was a topic that probably needed to be brought up because I don't think anybody talks about it, and it is hard and it is difficult, especially whether you're 18 or 21. You've probably, the majority of your life has been dedicated to this sport and industry and hobby, etc. And then you're just like, okay, bye. See ya.
So long, I'm done.
And so I don't think that that's probably the best thing. And so I just thought that maybe we could give some insight on how to mentally handle it, and also ways to stay involved and be productive and help out the industry in a different way.
Excellent. And if you're ready, Ryan, and concluded on the main topic, you know what it's time for.
Yes, I know. It's time.
And we have to go to them a little early because a couple of these are pretty long.
Okay, well, before we do that, I understand it's your favorite part of the show, question and answer, but I do want to give another BTR JLA shout out to Leonard Truck and Trailer. And again, I think if I gave them a shout out every week on the podcast from now to the end of the year, it probably still wouldn't be enough because they are the single largest donor to the BTR JLA, and they donated on almost every single level. And so we really appreciate Clint and Leonard Truck and Trailer for all that they do. And Leonard Truck and Trailer is dedicated to providing the best service, selection, and value. Their efforts are focused on meeting and exceeding customers' expectations every day because that they know that their continued success relies on the ability to satisfy every customer. They are committed to being your one-stop trailer source with the largest selection of trailers in the nation. They have on-the-spot financing, a custom vinyl department, house warranty department, and comprehensive parts and services. They can do it all. And again, if you're looking for a trailer, please support Leonard Truck and Trailer because they have supported the youth of the livestock industry, not just through BTR JLA, but multiple ways.
Thank you, Leonard Truck and Trailer. It is appreciated. Question and answer. The first one comes from Matt. I'm in Texas. Ryan, this was meant for you.
I'm sure it was.
I'm in Texas. My oldest son is an incoming second grader and showing steers for the first time. Our county has a young feeders program and allows kids to start showing in kindergarten. So we've shown hogs the previous 2 years. I'm going to take a side note here real quick, Ryan. While I'm reading this, I noticed that especially in Texas, it goes off of your school year more than your age. Would that be accurate?
Yes, that is accurate.
And then that is different elsewhere, by the way, in case you're unaware. Very much different in the North. It is definitely an age thing, not. So Ryan, somebody with the limited academic ability that you have, if you were to have repeated 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade a few times, you could just keep showing?
Yeah, you could. Thank you, Dale.
So you get 3, if you repeated classes.
My limited academic ability. Yes. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
But if you would have failed a class 2 or 3 times during your elementary education.
This is
you would-
funny that you bring this up. I was never, anyway, limited.
well, I'm asking out of maybe ignorance. I don't know.
No, yes, you could if it is by grade.
I'm
It
surprised
is-
your senior
but-
year you didn't just boycott school.
Yeah, well, anyway, the funny thing is as a young child, they wanted me to skip a grade or two, and my parents said, "Oh, hell no." Not happening. So we were the opposite. We were like,
Are
no.
there rumors out there that some of these kids will maybe pull themselves back to get another year? Has that happened?
I'm not going to give specific instances, but there have been people that may have done that or may have taken their child out of public school and put them in a homeschool program or stuff like that. I have no concrete evidence of this, but there have been rumors, yes.
I can see it maybe happening. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to get back to the question. I apologize, Matt. We got distracted, but you did bring up, Matt, that brought up a good point. So his son has shown the previous 2 years from kindergarten on. We're going to hit some local prospect shows to get my son and his 2 steers some ring time before the county show. Yeah, I'm gonna paraphrase here a little bit. My question is, what kind of questions should we be prepared to answer in a Pee Wee showmanship class? We try to spend a lot of time discussing why we do certain things regarding feeding, care of his livestock, but I'd like for him to be ultra prepared as possible when walking into the show ring. I love the podcast and appreciate your guys' help on this topic. Ryan, this sounds like over preparation that you might give a Pee Wee showman.
Matt is this person's name?
Yep.
Okay, Matt, you've asked the wrong person because I do not ask questions in
knew
any
this was
showmanship. So, literally, I would say if the child knew his name and his animal's name, then you would be great. But I will try to help you out here. Pee Wee showmanship, I cannot imagine them asking anything other than name, animal's name, are you having a good time, and maybe the weight or age. I can't imagine any judge expecting any more out of a kid than that. That's just my own personal opinion.
But Matt, I am perfectly fine with you educating that your son to the hill, being prepared for everything.
Oh no, I mean, get with it. Go as far in depth as you want, but I just can't imagine anybody asking more than that in a Pee Wee showmanship contest. I mean,
agreed. If Matt, if you want to try to win that Pee Wee showmanship, I think he's wanting his child to. I think we're going down that path, which is great. I would think of a really cute response, your name or your animal's name or something that is memorable for the judge. How's that, Ryan?
Yes, I think that would help, and
that would be a good approach. Not very educational, but real world education.
Right. I do realize that there are judges that ask lots of questions in showmanship, from what your feeding ration is to what you would change about your animal to, not just your feeding, how much you feed, all that other stuff. And so if you're preparing him for later, then, there's no time like the present to get him a working knowledge of all that stuff. I just don't know how much a 7-8-year-old can handle on all that. But those are things that you might get asked later in showmanship ages.
No, I'm completely with you. And I think, Matt, I love the amount of preparation and the time that you're spending with your son, and all that's going to benefit very, very well long term. Ryan, the second question comes to us from Damien, and it's a long question. I'm going to paraphrase and I'm going to condense a little bit and I think shorten it up a little bit. I appreciate your most recent podcast. I have 2 children that have shown livestock for 5 years. My daughter and son, and I'm going to leave some names out of here, have had a great year jackpotting and competing in national shows. We just finished our county fair, and I have been the lamb superintendent for 2 years. As a family, we work to be the best possible at all shows and have support from other breeders that actually help us. My wife and I are the lamb and goat leader for our 4-H club. We have dominated our county fair for the past 2 years, and they go on to list what they've accomplished in the goat and lamb arena in round robin and showmanship, and it's extensive. So I'm going to skip to the point, but just want to bring out there, this family has had tremendous success, and both parents are involved as superintendents, leaders, things like that. So heavily involved in their county fair. My question is, should I step down from the fair board as superintendent for lambs? I do not want any negative talk about the hard work the kids put into their project. I almost feel like we should stop showing at our county fair to give others a chance. We take raising livestock and showing extremely serious. The kids have a goal to compete at national level, and we approach the county fair in the same manner. After this past week of success the kids have earned, I feel like not attending. I'm going to paraphrase again. I feel like not attending our county fair will give other kids a chance. What are your thoughts on that? I want to do the best for my kids and our community, but it seems that others see it differently, and it's disgusting to me and discourages me.
Well,
I think it's the same scenario we've heard a lot of times, Ryan.
yeah, and I'm gonna say that I think on like this. There's so many parts to this question, but on whether you show at the county fair or not, I think you need to ask your kids. That would be my thing. If they want to show at the county fair, then you continue to show. They know up front that they're probably gonna have some grief involved in it, and that people are probably gonna throw some shade and talk some trash or whatever like that. But if it is important for them to continue to compete at the county fair, I think that's a decision they have to make because, again, I think that the parents are going to be the ones that are more affected by people talking about their kids, but the kids are the ones that who ultimately get talked about. So if they don't want to show and they say, we win on other levels and we've got plenty of opportunities, I don't want to deal with the county fair, don't. If they want to show, show. As far as you being a whatever you are, superintendent or leader involved in running the county fair, because isn't that part of the question, Dale, if I
Correct.
remember? Yeah.
Yes.
That part, I'm going to tell you, if you're having the success that you're having, you need to bow out because that just opens up for more people to talk trash about you.
Unfortunately, it's great because you're probably one of the more knowledgeable ones in there if you're having that kind of success and are able to do as good a job or better, but it's hard to have it both ways. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's just bad perception.
I think that they should value your expertise and all this other stuff, and that I'm sure you do everything you can to ensure that you're above board on everything, but that's not. Perception is bigger than reality, unfortunately, in almost all cases. And the perception is going to be that you have an inside edge because you're running that deal or you're volunteering, whatever. So if you're going to continue to show, my advice to you would be to bow out of that position.
And unfortunately, the perception is the mainstay there. And no matter how well you're doing it and how above board you're doing it, you're not going to stop people from talking. It just is what it is. So, Damien, good question. I think this is something that a lot of people that work hard and go to their county fair. And Ryan, I absolutely respect your advice on let's ask the kids if they want to do it or not. And that's the right
My
direction
parents
to go.
did not ask me. That's why I'm very opinionated about this because I would have said I will never go back to my county fair for the rest of my life. Cherie did not ask me. She continued to wanted to go beat up on the people at the county fair because they talk trash. So we went every year. I would have said no. So ask your children.
I've taken a different approach, and I need to learn from your advice that we have not participated a lot in our county fair because my children get a chance to participate at jackpot shows and state fair and national shows. But if I were to ask them, especially when they were younger, they would want to partake far more than what we did. And I'm the one that kind of pulled back. So I need to learn from that advice a little bit.
And I'm not trying to draw this question out, but like I'm very serious to anybody that is facing this or has bad experience at the county fair, whether you're any of them. Talk to your kids because yes, I know you're involved and I know whatever, but like at the county fair level, you don't ever escape those people. They're in your school, they're in your community, they're whatever. You see them every single, more than, if not every single day, you see them multiple times at different things throughout the thing. And the kids are the one, I can speak from experience, that some of those people that only show at county, they never let it go. It's all year round that they're talking trash or saying stuff like that. And when you have to see them that many times at different functions because they are in your county, I think that is really important to talk to your kids and say, hey, if you don't want to do this, we don't have to do it. Because I promise you, I would have been done with my county fair like the third year I showed. And so if you're in this situation and this comes up, I'm not saying you have to do what your kids say, but you need to ask their opinion.
Absolutely. Kirby has our third question and starts out, I have a question for your next podcast. I don't know.
How do they know what the next one is?
Well, I try to stay current. You know, when I pull questions up, it's when we're covering something in current events, and I can get on Facebook and pull these up. But Kirby says, everyone knows it's happening. We see lambs winning jackpots, fairs, and national level shows with butts that look like they belong on a farm.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Rumor has it they're pumping air into the meat. Is there an effective way to test for this? And I feel people should be penalized because, for one, it's not teaching our youth to be ethical. We've had similar questions of this many, many times.
My Lord.
And Ryan says we're going to do a topic on it. So I'm going to keep this very short.
Oh, now we're going to do a topic on it? When?
No,
I've had that since the inception, and you've said no. So
I would like to bring a guest or two on for the topic, if that's okay.
Oh, great.
So with that, and I've had several people volunteer wanting to come on and just wanting to speak their mind.
I bet you have.
So we are going to do that as soon as, and I will make a conscious effort to try. I am not very good about organizing dates and times with guests and so forth. It just is
me.
what it is. Or yeah, with you. We're lucky to get ourselves organized to do this. So Ryan, would you like to begin with this one, or would you like me to?
Since we are supposedly going to have this topic, I think that probably need to keep it short and sweet here. Yes, illegal, unethical activities happen at all levels of stock shows. It is there. It is prevalent. It happens. There are ways to determine and test. I mean, for lots of different things, not for everything, but for lots of different things. And your point on that they should be held accountable, and we will probably go into this in depth when we have this as a podcast topic. The problem with that is you're dealing with a minor child, and how to hold that person accountable and yet not put that child in a position to where they are slandered or run through the mud, all this other stuff. It's a very, very tricky thing, because on the flip side of it, until people know that XYZ got thrown out at ABC show for doing this unethically, there is no fear in the people that are breaking the rules to stop.
Agreed. And I would have to say, Ryan, because of just what you said, I didn't know if there was ever going to be a way to wrap your head around this and do this, but I'm not going to show our cards right now until we have that main topic. But I think there's a solution. I think there's a way to do this, and I'm going to stay very conservative in what I say here, but I'm going to send a thank you out to Matt Clays, because he's put a tremendous amount of time and effort into wrapping his head around this and how to address this without necessarily dragging the minor child into it, because the younger children, I'm not saying that the older seniors aren't aware of what's going on, but the younger children really aren't. It's those that are doing the unethical things, whether it be the parent, the broker, the fitter, whatever it may be. There is a person that's consciously doing that. That's not the child, whether the child is or is not aware of it. So instead of necessarily going after that child or even the family, which I still think the family or the adults in the situation need to be held responsible because they're damn sure aware of what's going on, there is a way to go about that. And I think maybe the best time to do it is when we do the topic over this is kind of announce some of these things are happening. But Ryan, if you go back into, I think, the early 90s with the clenbuterol and the steer issues, I don't know, and you could help me here. There were some felonies handed out that went beyond just punishment from the shows, and the USDA gets involved, and it gets a little more serious. But in those situations,
that was for people that were distributing it, though.
Yes, and that wasn't dragging.
That was not show families.
Yes, that wasn't dragging a kid through anything. Would that be accurate?
Right. Those were for people that were distributing it. Yep. So let's get that clear.
Yes. So there are directions you can take to try to dampen it down. And I'm excited to just address that topic head on, and Ryan and I have hit it, or I've maybe pushed it a little too far and already addressed this topic in different times a little more than maybe what we should just condense all into one particular episode. So absolutely plan on doing that. We will bring some guests in on this that have some very strong opinions. I know it's difficult to bring more than one guest in at a time, but there's several that have some ideas, and I think there is a good path moving forward, Kirby. I promise you there's a path forward. I don't know how long it'll take to implement, but it's begun, and I think we're going to see some results from this past show season that are going to prove to be, it's going to make a lot of people that are doing the right thing and doing things the right way very, very happy, because on the unethical side, there's people that are spending more time in figuring out how to get away with unethical practices and how to not get caught and not to get tested than the time they're spending into breeding better livestock, buying better livestock, managing better, all those things. And that's just the wrong direction. It's the wrong message. It's the wrong everything. So we're going to do everything and anything possible to try to level that playing field. And we'll cover that hopefully soon, Ryan. And you can help me organize this if you'd like. You are much more organized than I.
Okay.
With that, guys, thank you for another week. I hope the world calms a little bit by next week. And between now and then, be safe.
Y'all come back now, you hear?